Well, it happened. Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's just been beat off Jake Paul. But how? Mike Tyson's an absolute legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time. How can this YouTuber beat such a great fighter?
The Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously
two-
odd.
No, he fights two no names, beats them both.
Well, X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago.
The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight has been widely branded by critics and boxing experts as a scripted spectacle rather than a legitimate competition. Fans were hoping for an entertaining clash, but the fight ended up disappointing many, leading to allegations that it was orchestrated for business purposes.
Script has went viral. Let's see how accurate it was. The opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately, he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style. Now, let me just stop right there. Even before I seen this script, that's exactly what was going to happen. Like, what else would happen? Would Mike Tyson come out and start moving on his back foot and not bobbing and weaving his head like he always has done? Obviously, that's what he was going to do.
Former boxer Carl Froch, speaking to the Metro, expressed his belief that Tyson may have been restricted by contract terms that prevented him from truly trying to hurt Jake Paul. Froch speculated that if Tyson had been allowed to land a powerful left or right hook, he could have knocked Paul out. However, Froch doubted such an outcome was ever possible, suggesting that the fight appeared fixed to favor Paul.
I don't know what pleasure you can take from beating an old Mike Tyson.
I believe he actually won the first 2 rounds. Jake Paul probably won the rest of them. Mike Tyson's legs were gone, man. They were gone. And I believe Ryan, I got to give Ryan credit on this one, man. Because Ryan from Sports Wars, he did say that there would be like a no knockout clause. Now, Jake Paul going into the fight, I believe he's put down every single fighter he's actually been against. Now, he's only fought one boxer before Tyson. Now, Mike Tyson, man, is 58 years old. And I watched this, man, because I grew up watching the real Mike Tyson. That was the greatest spectacle you ever saw in your life.
Evander Holyfield, a fellow boxing legend, openly criticized the fight, suggesting something felt off with Tyson. Holyfield's comments added to the speculation that Tyson was not at his best and that external factors may have impacted the fight.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. Yeah. Overall, how'd you just see how Jake fought, how Mike fought?
Well, you can tell something was wrong with the Tyson leg.
Yeah, the knee.
So he couldn't. His balance was off.
Oh, that's crazy. You noticed that. I just talked to his trainer and he told me that exact thing.
Yeah.
His balance was off.
His balance was off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. You know, overall, like, how do you see Jake growing from this, and who do you want to see him fight against now?
Well, I'm like, he's a pretty good fighter.
Fans had modest expectations for the fight, but the outcome proved even more disappointing than anticipated. Promoted as a thrilling clash between a YouTube sensation and a legendary boxer, the match fell flat, coming across as a lackluster, business-focused event that failed to deliver the excitement it promised.
This fight sucked gorilla balls. I hated it. A roided-up 27-year-old fighting a 58-year-old senior citizen should have been illegal in the first place. I was already expecting to be disappointed, but was still blown out of the water with how bad it really was. I called it back in March, saying that this fight would suck, and that the Paul sisters were very good at generating hype only to deliver a letdown, and both those things happened. But still, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was a giant economic success. The Netflix servers were overloaded with how many people were trying to watch it. So money grab fights and mediocrity are now literally being celebrated. And it's so sad to see how far the business of boxing has really fallen. This is why Dana White is the absolute best when it comes to the fight game. Say what you will about him, but he is the John Jones of promoters. Every week he puts on fights where the best fights the best. No gimmick bullshit. And I hear Jake Paul is going to be announcing his next opponent really soon.
Fans tuned in hoping for a nostalgic throwback as Mike Tyson faced off against Jake Paul. Instead, they were met with what many described as a hollow and staged event.
Headbutts or not, they went in. But yo, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. What do we got? Mike Tyson is 58 years old. Jake Paul is 27. 31-year difference. Most of us wanted to see Mike Tyson win. The nostalgia, we rock with Mike. A lot of us support Mike. Jake Paul, you know, the famous YouTuber that stepped into boxing, and I'm not gonna say he's made a mockery of boxing because he is a real fighter. He is a real boxer. He has boxed professionally. He is knocking a bunch of people out. I'm not trying to put him in the real class of our real boxers. We're not doing that shit, of course. But I respect Jake Paul, though. I mean, we're not gonna go that far. We're not gonna kill him. So this was never really touted to be no real shit. A 31-year-old difference. But the fact that we support Mike, just imagine if Mike would have got in there and just happened to land one of the motherfuckers and put Jake Paul in his ass. Man, I tell you, the nostalgia and the beauty in that would have been crazy. But by the time we got to about the third round, Mike stopped throwing punches. He stopped throwing punches. He had about 30 seconds of the first round where he looked dangerous. About 30 seconds. That's it. He came out. He was moving. Mike looking fast and sharp. Got up there during the weigh-ins with a six-pack. He's like, what the fuck is going on? Mike, is he on steroids or some shit?
For Tyson's loyal supporters, it was a painful reminder that time spares no one, not even the greatest of champions.
After that first 30, 45 seconds, that's it. It was a wrap. After that, you know, he really had Jake Paul on his bike for a second. Let's be real. Jake Paul was on his bike for about the first minute of the first round. But after that, where was Mike? Nowhere to really be found. We just watched him bite his fucking glove the whole time. Roy Jones in there commentating, talking about his mouthpiece. No, that's just Mike being Mike, biting his fucking glove, doing nothing.
For Mike Tyson's loyal supporters, watching their hero in this state was a heartbreaking experience. What was supposed to be a showcase of his enduring spirit turned into a spectacle that many felt tarnished his legacy.
All right, I'm not even going to sit around and wait for the result of that Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. That was the most pointless, stupid fight in the history of boxing. That was absolutely pathetic. Netflix couldn't even get your streaming situation figured out. What was that? Everybody's stream was lagging. You couldn't even figure that situation out. And then your first big launch of this like new sports streaming thing that you want to do is this Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight where Mike Tyson is clearly, I love Mike, love him. My dad is a massive Mike Tyson fan. He was texting me saying how depressing it was for him to watch this. Jake Paul was selling it, I'm gonna kill Mike Tyson. I'm gonna fuck him up. And what happened? He showed mercy to Mike Tyson in the ring because Mike Tyson just didn't have it anymore. He had no legs under him. If you don't want to hurt the guy, why are you fighting him? Just to con us? To con people into buying more Netflix subscriptions? This fight sucked.
Reports later surfaced that Tyson had been hospitalized the day before the fight due to health concerns. Despite not being in top condition, the fight went on, largely to avoid the backlash of another postponement. This decision raised ethical questions about the motivations behind the event.
Mike Tyson might be dropping out of the fight versus Jake Paul tomorrow. Just after doing the weigh-in today, there's rumors Mike Tyson had to be taken to the hospital for care. This would be the second time the fight had to be canceled due to Mike Tyson having a health scare. At the age of 58, this has many people worried that if Jake Paul goes hard in this fight and knocks him out, Mike could end up seriously hurt. KSI seems to think this is a likely outcome, even though most fighters seem to think there's no way Jake wins. They were even betting millions against Jake here. This is what Jake had to say about the rumor.
He's scared or something, I don't know, but it pisses me off. I guess I'm just used to having to carry the promotions anyways. So.
We will know what happens early morning tomorrow. Subscribe if you hope this fight happens.
Speculation about the authenticity of the fight continues to grow. Many experts believe the match was scripted and designed more for entertainment value than legitimate competition. Jake Paul's victory has only fueled these claims.
In the first round, maybe two, he would get demolished. Wow. Fake. This is all for entertainment. It isn't a real fight. It's a stunt. This is a stunt, man. I mean, everybody watched that fight, man, stayed up for nothing. Usually I'm in the bed by now. It's almost midnight at the time of this recording. It is 11:49. And I'm recording this video. I'm going to drop it and go to bed, man. I wasted time staying up to watch this. But I'm a huge fan of Mike Tyson, man. It's been 20 years, man, since Mike Tyson actually fought. 2005, man, Kevin McBride. Mike Tyson knocked out by Kevin McBride. Kevin McBride wasn't a great fighter, but I can tell you this, man. He was a real fighter. Jake Paul would get demolished by Kevin McBride. He would.
Amber Rose shared her thoughts on the fight, stating she was confident Jake Paul would emerge victorious. Her prediction aligned with the outcome, leading some to question whether the result was ever in doubt.
Amber, what'd you think of the fight?
I knew Jake Paul was going to win. I felt it in my heart.
Yeah?
I knew Trump was going to win.
What made you know that? Yeah, what made you know that?
I just, he's 27 years old. He's been working hard. And, I just saw it. I watched the progression of who he is as a boxer. And I was the only one that was cheering when everyone else was booing him. That's my dog. I just knew it. I felt it.
Who do you want to see him fight next, in your opinion? Or who would you like to see him fight next?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Will we ever see you in the ring?
No.
You don't really like that side of it?
No, I'm a 41-year-old mother. I'll beat your ass, little boy.
Yeah, that was rude. Wow.
That was actually hella funny.
Did you see the girl fight?
I did, yeah.
Amanda and Katie?
Yeah.
Twitter user Russell Morg captured the sentiment of many viewers with his sharp observation, everyone quickly realizing we're watching a 58-year-old box. His remark highlighted the stark reality that Tyson, despite his legendary status, could no longer perform at the elite level. Colby Covington had a more measured take on the fight, praising its safe conclusion. He noted that it was evident Tyson was far from his prime and expressed relief that no severe harm came to the boxing icon.
What did I think?
Yeah.
I love seeing Mike out there doing what he loves to do. It's his passion. But I don't know. I think Jake looked a little soft tonight. He don't look like a real boxer, a pro boxer that's been training the last 10 years. So, he needs to come see me one day. A guy that's in his prime that's going to walk him down and have that cardio. So,
did you expect him to knock Mike Tyson out tonight?
I did, yeah. I thought, Mike's a little bit older. He had a problem. They had to push back the first fight because, he had like a stroke on a plane or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
also.
I was just scared. I didn't want to see Mike get hurt. I'm happy he's walking out of that ring and he's healthy tonight. So, super happy. Everything went well, and it was a spectacle. All the fans enjoyed the show.
You want to fight Jake Paul?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'd love to fight him. He's talked a lot of about me in the past. I'd love to see him back it up. For sure, that's all I've been practicing the last couple of years, just straight boxing, man. Boxing and wrestling.
Boxing analyst Dr. Bryan did not hold back, harshly criticizing the decision to sanction the fight.
And then he came out and a couple of rounds looked pretty good, and then by the end of the fight it was clear this was a 58-year-old man, and he looked like a 58-year-old man. And I have a lot of issues with this. I don't think this fight should have ever happened. I think it says a lot of bad things about the combat sports world and sets a really dangerous precedent going forward. We're gonna talk about the whole fight clearance approval process and then just physiologically why he looked the way he did. There's a lot of just true anatomy and physiology changes that explain why Tyson looked so bad and play a role in why this type of thing should not happen. So how did this fight even happen or get approved? Each state has an athletic commission that governs licenses for combat sports. It's not a national standard, it's state by state, and there's a wide variety of medical clearance processes and rules in place from one state to another. That probably played some role in where this fight happened because Texas has some of the more lenient medical clearance processes. So here you can see if you're going to apply to get a license, you basically have to have a medical exam, you have to have some negative blood work, which is pretty self-explanatory. You have to have passed an eye exam within the previous 6 months, and if you are over the age of 36, you are considered a older competitor and you have to have more favorable physical testing, limited, including EEG, EKG. So EEG is a very generic test of brain function, brain activity, but doesn't actually show you anything structural in the brain, and an EKG is for the heart rhythm.
He described Tyson's physical appearance as concerning and argued that the match should never have been allowed to proceed in the first place.
Then there you have the actual form of what has to be done for the physical. There's some very basic stuff in here about medical history, any history of seizures, headaches, dizziness, brain hemorrhage, chest pain, irregular heartbeats, cramping with exercise, asthma, very simple, basic medical history. Have you had a concussion, lost consciousness? Obviously, for these boxers, this better be yes for all of them because they've all had head injuries pretty much at this point. And then again, here's that comment about being over the age of 36 is what they would consider an older athlete. Physical exam. For the neurologic exam, none of this is functional. This is very basic. How alert are you? Your cranial nerves. Look at somebody walk. Very simple finger, nose, and reflexes. This is extremely, extremely simple screening. Not anywhere near the level of complexity for something like what a professional boxer is walking into. And it's the same other than an EKG and an EEG for a 20-year-old fighter or theoretically a 90-year-old fighter. There's no upper age limit within these athletic commissions for when a fighter can be approved.
Steven Espinoza shared his thoughts on the event, calling it a rough watch. Like many others, he expressed his disappointment, both in the fight's quality and the circumstances surrounding it.
I think we're all hoping to see a little flash of the old Mike, and we saw like someone who, you know, I wish I'd seen the old Mike. You know, not to take anything from Jake, but you know, Mike looks his age, and you know he should. Look, I take that back. He did a lot better than a lot of 58-year-olds would have done. But you know,
Is Jake good for the sport?
I think it is. About 70,000 people out. He and Mike. So, like, I think it certainly brought people out.
What did you make of Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano?
Look, another tough fight to score, another tough fight to call a winner. I had Amanda by a round maybe. It's tough to argue either way. I mean, it's a rough fight. They fight. You know, they're going to fight 100 times, and you can argue. You're not going to get a clear decision, you know, out of any of them. They're evenly matched fighters. You can argue either way, but it was an amazing fight to watch.
Can you give us a tank update? Sorry.
Looking at taking the spring. He's anxious to come back, and you know, hopefully we're gonna see him. I think actually within the next week we'll have an announcement with a formal date.
Daniel Cormier noted that fans' hopes had been elevated by Tyson's impressive training footage.
And I was locked in. You know what the craziest thing about this whole situation? And honestly, the production value and everything on Netflix was tremendous. But as we got closer, we got more interested in this fight. Honestly, everybody was watching this fight because Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. You know, I was texting Rogan earlier, and I was like, I cannot resist the urge to watch it. He said, I'm going right now to watch the fight. We can't miss Mike Tyson compete. I think, though, that the wool was pulled over our eyes, right? We watched Mike do all these things, and we watched Mike in training, and you get the idea that he had a chance, but he really didn't have a chance to beat this kid tonight. And it showed very early. Fight starts. Mike gets forward, lands a beautiful jab that rocks Jake, and I think immediately that made Jake realize that he couldn't be reckless against him. But then as time went on, he realized that that threat was not as present as he might have thought.
However, the reality in the ring failed to match those expectations, leaving many disillusioned.
Was probably the best punch Mike landed the entire fight. You know, Jake Paul, the boxer, is much better than people want to give him credit for, but I don't know that this does anything for that, because he fought a 58-year-old man. He fought a 58-year-old man to a decision. That 58-year-old man comes out on the other side looking pretty good, if you ask me. He looked like you would expect a 58-year-old man to look in a professional boxing match.
After the fight, Jake Paul addressed the criticism, stating he gave it his best effort while Tyson was clearly just trying to survive in the ring.
Do you feel like it's time for people to just accept you for who you are and not try to say, hey, you need to fight ranked fighters or fight for a belt or those kinds of things, and just accept what you bring to the sport? Because obviously, look what you did tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but people just love to hate me. I'm easy to hate, and I intentionally, you know, say things to make people hate me. I play the heel. I feed into that, and you know that's just what I like to do, and that's what entertainment is. And at the end of the day, I started as a 17-year-old in Los Angeles in the entertainment business, but I've been in this sport for 4.5 years and have been so active, doing every event, taking any fight possible. So if people want to see more, or this challenge, or fight this person, whatever it is, my response to them is just give them a couple more months, because I'm going to accomplish more things in just a matter of months.
Knocking the dude out in the first round, but doing what traditional boxers do. And now he's here putting on the biggest show that boxing has seen in 40 plus years. You know, there was a fighter who tried to bombard our press conference, former fighter, on Thursday, and it was ridiculous. That dude fought somebody that was 9-21 in their 12th fight. This young man who has 4 years in the sport, 3 years with MVP, he just fought the baddest man on the planet in front of 72,000 people on Netflix.
He acknowledged the stark contrast in their performances, pointing out that Tyson seemed to be merely surviving rather than competing. While Paul credited Tyson's resilience, he defended his own performance, stating that he came prepared and executed his strategy. Critics, however, argue that the fight was lopsided, with an aging Tyson unable to match Paul's youth and energy. Jake's comments have drawn mixed reactions, with some praising his honesty and others questioning the legitimacy of a fight with such an imbalance.
Reaction on social media isn't too great about the fight in general. Your reaction to that at all?
Yeah, man, thank you for everyone tuning in and coming. And, you know, I tried to give the fight the best fight I possibly could. But when someone's just surviving in the ring, basically, it's hard to make it exciting. So I couldn't really get him to engage me or slip shots and, you know, do something super cool or whatever. But I don't care about what people have to say. They're always going to have something to say, and that it is what it is.
Eddie Hearn admitted he could only endure watching the first round of the fight. Seeing Tyson struggle was too difficult for him, a sentiment echoed by many fans. Do you think fights like these should be sanctioned at all, or does it harm the sport's credibility?
And that's, I just, like, did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be. They're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up. Look how many people tuned in. So I can't knock it. It's just not for me. And that's not disrespectful. I love boxing. I don't want to see Mike Tyson stuck in quicksand. And he showed unbelievable heart, by the way. No one wants to see that happening to Mike Tyson.
About the 30 seconds that you saw, I mean, I know Jake Paul was.
They got pillows on. They got 14-ounce gloves on. You know, I mean, he come out like a raging bull. But after that, he was gassed. But Mike's a legend, and he showed a load of heart, but you just don't need to see it, man. You know?
A lot of people just said, you know, I'm just here to just watch Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I get it. But maybe they haven't watched boxing for 35 years. and love the and I haven't even had a drink. And love the sport more than anything. Because that's what I do. So for me, I didn't want to see it. And when I did see it, I didn't want to see it even more. But I get the casual fan. Wow, Mike, can he still do it? Has he still got it in him? Science doesn't allow that, you know?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.